Isupk. No cowards, no excuses.
Nothing I can say.
There's nothing I can say to make you believe. Yeah. Man, ain't nothing I can say. There's nothing I can say to make you believe. To make you believe.
But I'ma say it anyway.
What if I told you that I was the son of God? Would that be easy to believe, or would you make it hard? And I finally learned the difference between wise and smart. When I say we bless people, they say times is hard. And all I can tell them is they ain't never lied. Reincarnated, I'm back like I ain't never died. Man, I won't say it if it can't be verified. Niggas say they soldiers, when war starts, they terrified. I'm about to let it ride, bringing back the pride of black skin, cause they ain't got a clue what's happening. And we still being punished from back then. How we gonna make a change when we too busy adapting? Buckle your seatbelts, make sure you strapped in. They showed us the trap, so now my people trapped in. Cause everything we wanted to be, they said we couldn't be it. I told them we was chosen people, they just couldn't see it. Yeah. And it ain't nothing I can say. There's nothing I can say to make you believe. To make you believe.
But I'ma say it anyway.
Keep hearing footsteps in the dark, and my dogs gon' bite while the rest of y'all barking. Moving at the speed of light while y'all parking. In that water with sharks, I ain't scared, I'm a dolphin. It ain't no talking, boy, we all action. Trying to build a nation, but them hoes is distracting. With that twerking on the pole in the back bins. Put on some clothes, set some goals, we can rap then. And we ain't never been the same since the crack came. Selling poison just to give it to the Jack name. They promote the lifestyle through the rap game. Flood the hood with it, then tell you it's a black thing. They really need God, but they call idols. How these jits 14 with assault rifles? They waiting for better days. Now can I paraphrase? Niggas will kill their own brother for a pair of J's. And it ain't nothing I can say. There's nothing I can say to make you believe. To make you believe. Let me say it anyway.
But the ball outside, I get it on outside. From the dust to the dawn outside. So in the morning outside, I'm catching wreck when they drawn outside. Cause it's a war outside, my sword's drawn outside. This Excalibur, you better be all outside. Cause it's a war outside, I get it on outside. You in the crib, but the ball outside, I get it on outside. And that's a definite cannonball wrecking shit. Excellent, rhyme Barack and bombing like the president. I remain strong, King Kong with the prevalence. I show you exactly what we do, that's how I represent. Hardcore, heaven sent, chain on, hella bent. Throwing all black when they spot me like the leopard print. Oh, I got the braids in, shades on, made men. Cause we put in work to stop the earth until they cave in. Walk strong, talk heavy, hold my own. You rock solid when we bout to leave the sword and stone. Nigga, we warriors, hardcore, tracking the pride. And let the Hebrew speak, nigga, general high. And we talkin' super heavy, nigga, that's the surprise. With all scripture, street talk, word to Captain the Kai, nigga, we blazing, ripping the mic with all facts, doing the knowledge to the max, till we cracking the pavement. UPK, y'all the one West Harlem, nigga. We spring forward and they falling like it's autumn, nigga. Talking to all them niggas.
Shalom, Israel. We are the Israelite School of Universal on your honor. This is history class. And we come into history class, we learn history. We learn history about our people. We learn about what our people went through. We try to learn about what our people went through, the bad and the good, but mostly we want to learn the bad so we don't take ourselves through what we went through before. We went through a lot of things, especially in this wicked nation right here. You understand? And this is one of the most wickedest nations on the face of the earth. You understand? Being in these Americas, and we went through a lot of trials and tribulations in this nation. We are actually still going through a lot of those same trials and tribulations. What we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the black slaves. We're going to talk about, let's not say the black slave, but we're going to talk about the black farmers after the emancipation, after we came up out of slavery. What happened with us after we came up out of slavery? A lot of the ex-slaves became what you would call sharecroppers. And what the sharecroppers did was the sharecroppers worked the fields for the landowner, and the landowner took part of the profits, and the sharecroppers took part of the profits. Actually, my great grandfather was a sharecropper. You understand? And that's how my family got land in St. Mary's County from my great grandfather being a sharecropper, which was my grandfather's father. You understand what I'm saying? So we're gonna talk about, the things that these sharecroppers went through, and at the turn of the century. You understand what I'm saying? So we were emancipated in 1863. Word didn't get around to really 1865. Then boom, slaves were so-called free, and freeing the so-called slaves basically almost destroyed the South. You understand what I'm saying? When they made the emancipation, with the intent not just freeing the slaves. It wasn't about freeing the slaves. It was about keeping the Union together, keeping the states together as one. But in freeing those slaves, they just about crippled the South. You understand what I'm saying? So coming up out of that, what the plantation or the landowners in the South did was they so-called rehired the slaves as sharecroppers. And as them being sharecroppers, they would work hard. They would work hard to get part of the landowner would get the other part. So it says, let's see here. You got that article? Before you read that article,
We having a little problem with the sound. Having a little problem with the sound. Say something. Having a little problem with the sound.
can you hear me? 1 2 1 2.
See the key. Hold on. Say something.
1 2 1 2. Good. All right. All right. It says, well, little information that I got was like right after the emancipation, some years after the emancipation, around about 1920, it says that there were about 925,000 black-owned farms, black, slaves that owned farms. coming out of slavery, after the emancipation, up until around about the 1920s, about 925,000. There were 925,000 black-owned farms. Now, we're talking about, blacks owning farms. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of those farms were not.
Talk more in the mic.
Okay, a lot of those farms were not considered industrial worthy, meaning they weren't farms that were providing things for big industries and things like that because they weren't big enough. But nonetheless, it was 25,000 of these black-owned farms, which was 14% of all the farms in the United States. That's a lot. You understand? For a people basically just 25 or 35 years out of slavery. You understand what I'm saying? You got that article? By this time, freed slaves and their descendants accumulated about 15 million acres. That's a lot of land. 15 million acres of land all across the United States. Most of this land was in the South. Of course, most of it was in the South because that's where most of the farmland was, and that's where most of the agriculture was being done at. With the cotton, with the sugar cane, with the corn, with the everything that made the United States or the United States go. You understand what I'm saying? So it was 15 million acres of land all across the United States. Like I said, most of it was in the South. That's how much they had. You understand what I'm saying? And by what the plantation owners began to do was to use the slaves, or the so-called ex-slaves that became sharecroppers. So what was going on was, what they would do was, they would sharecrop sharecroppers. They would go in with a contract with the sharecroppers. And then when it was time to reap the benefit, and the sharecroppers would come for what was owed to them. The landowner would come to them and say, well, I had to provide this, this for you. I had to provide equipment, I had to provide the seed, I had to provide them. They would perpetually bring up a whole lot of things that they owed, and eventually they would put them in debt. You understand? So they really couldn't leave because they were in debt and they had nowhere else to go. This was something that happened to a lot of sharecroppers right after the emancipation.
It's getting a reverb.
What they would do, the whole thing behind a lot of these plantation owners was to put the sharecropper in debt to basically have them back into slavery again, but legal slavery. And as long as you owe me, you can't go anywhere. You have to continually work. This was the position that a lot of the sharecroppers put in. You understand what I'm saying? So basically, they came out of slavery only to be used to put back into slavery again. Grab me Psalms 55, 20 and 21.
You want to go to the what you call it?
Yeah, he gonna grab that scripture. Psalms 55 and 21.
No, I'll read it off. I'll read it off.
Go to the article.
The role of African Americans in the agricultural history of the United States includes roles as the main workforce when they were enslaved on cotton and tobacco plantations. In the antebellum South, after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863 through 1865, most stayed in farming as very poor sharecroppers who rarely owned land. They began the Great Migration to cities in the mid 20th century. About 40,000 are farmers today. Plantation owners brought a mass of slaves from the Caribbean and Mexico to farm the fields during cotton harvests.
Back further than that, it goes back to 1492, Christopher Columbus came in 1100 women. Understand back to Spain. Understand we so-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called native are the true Jews of the Bible. We are the 12 tribes. We are brothers. People try to say that.
The growth of slavery in the United States is closely tied to the expansion of plantation agriculture.
This is what the United States was built. You know what I'm saying? They come when the so-called oppressor or our so-called European oppressor said that they worked hard, they worked by the sweat of their brows and everything. That's a goddamn lie. We worked with our blood, sweat, tears, and bones made America what it is today. You understand? And I'm gonna drop right here to Psalm 55 and 21:20.
You have to speak into the mic a little bit.
I'm gonna go to Psalm 55, 21. I got the scripture right.
No, I'll read them. What you want?
Psalm 55, 20 and 21.
Psalms 55 and verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
It says he has put forth his hands that be at peace with him. This scripture right here is talking about the native Indians. Native Indians help them get through. You understand what I'm saying? But it's also talking after slavery, the so-called slave or ex-slave was at peace with his oppressor. At peace so much so that he became a sharecropper for the oppressor. Thinking that
Try to talk in the mic.
Thinking that the oppressor was thinking that the so-called oppressor was going to be fair with him. You understand what I'm saying? But as we all know that the oppressor is not fair with anyone but himself. Understand? We can never put our hopes and dreams in our oppressor. That's what we do. We are a people who continually do just what the Most High tells us not to do. We put everything that we got in our oppressor, hoping that he's going to throw us a bone or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
He hath broken his covenant.
He has broken his covenant. Broke his covenant with the native Indians. He had over 177 peace treaties with the native Indians. He broke every one of them. Same thing with the sharecropper. He had a peace treaty. This is the reason why a lot of the ex-slaves came out of the deal with nothing. Came out of the deal owing. You understand what I'm saying? Because we put so much of our trust in our oppressor that we put our lives on the line and we are continually destroyed. We are crushed into power. You understand? By trusting in our oppressor. The Bible tells us, trust not thine enemy. You understand what I'm saying? But we continually do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. Results will never change whenever you put your trust in your oppressor.
Verse 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. What does it say about the person of his God? He was the most subtle beast of the field. Being subtle, the words of his mouth are always smoother than butter. You understand what I'm saying? This is the way he deceived Eve. You understand? He deceived Eve so much so that Eve came back to us. We followed right. You understand? This is how we were destroyed. You understand? The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. He speaks with a smooth and mellow sound. You understand what I'm saying? So much so that he lulls us to sleep. You understand? The white man can lull you to sleep with his words. And this is the reason why he uses the words that he uses. It's called etymology. Right? The white man can be talking about one thing, but you think it's something else, but he's speaking to something else. You understand? That's the subtlety in the oppressor. This is what the oppressor is a master at. You understand? It says that he is gifted with the sword. Not only is he gifted with weaponry, he's gifted with the weaponry of his mouth, with his words, where he can get you to do anything that he wants you to do. And this is what happens to us. We listen to the words coming from his mouth that are smoother than butter, and then we go and we sin against the Most High. We trust in our oppressor. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
But war was in his heart.
But war was in his heart. Whenever the oppressor speaks to you, right? Whenever the oppressor speaks to us, the oppressor never has our best interest at heart. You understand what I'm saying? Our best interest, he never has our best interest at heart. Whenever the oppressor is speaking, it's about the oppressor. It's about what he can get from you and not give you. You understand what I'm saying? We've signed many documents, and especially today, right? When you go out and you take out a loan, you fill out that paper, you sign that loan, you know off the muscle, it's almost 23% interest rate, right? And then you never read the fine print that said that can go up if you late on a payment. You understand? Or if it comes back, we can charge you this amount. You understand what I'm saying? If anything happens and it comes back, or if we don't get it in time coming through the mail, we can charge you this amount. You understand? The words of his mouth was smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. The oppressor only has destruction for us. You understand what I'm saying? It's only destruction. His interests are only in himself, only in his own people. You understand? And this is the reason why we are continually destroyed in these streets, because we continually trust in our oppressors. It's like that voting that we just did, not to get too far off, but voting. You understand? We've been voting for over 55 years, and what has it gotten? Nothing. Because the words of his mouth are smoother than butter. The war was in his heart. You just chose another oppressor to continually whip your back. That's what happened. You understand? And all of a sudden, we all think that Joe Biden is going to change the world. And it's going to continually go on as it is, as long as we continue to do the same thing. But, like I said, this is what the sharecroppers fell into. You understand? Trusting in the oppressor. Whenever you trust in the oppressor, you will be destroyed. Go ahead.
His words were smoother than oil, Yet were they drawn swords.
His words smoother than oil. I mean, it gets you to the point where you definitely put your all and you definitely believe in him. Then at the end of the day, destruction. Understand? The oppressor is not to be trusted. Let's grab, you gotta be more, let's read, let's go back to that part.
Yeah. You ready?
Come.
The great majority of black farm workers before 1865, enslaved workers of southern farms and plantations, smaller numbers were free employees or farm owners. The small free black population was poor, but a small proportion too owned 20 to 30 acres. In South Carolina, there were about 400 free black farmers in the royal parishes surrounding Charlestown.
Right, and then what it's saying is, most of those small farmlands, like we talked about before, were maybe 20 to 30 acres, which wasn't a lot. You understand what I'm saying? In comparison to what they needed it for, as far as providing something for bigger industries or something like that. Not to mention, a lot of black farmers were edged out of the industry. They didn't get the opportunities that the white farmers got. You understand what I'm saying? So it was more of a struggle for black farmers to maintain and hold on to their farms and their farmland. You understand what I'm saying? This goes back to in the scriptures when the Most High tells us that we're supposed to take care of our own. In Zephaniah 2:1, it says what? It says, gather yourself together. Yea, gather yourself together, O nation not desired. When we came out of slavery, or so-called slavery, when we was emancipated, we were supposed to come together and we were supposed to provide for each other. We were supposed to have been on the same accord, and we were supposed to be providing for each other. Whenever you provide, like, let's just say you did corn, he did sugar cane, somebody else did beans or something else like that. Whenever we all funnel things between each other, that's called what? That's called what? Bartering. So you really didn't need a so-called currency. I would give you, let's just say I would give you a cow. You would give me 100 pounds of corn or something like that in exchange, and I'm just throwing something up out of there. That's how you do, and then that's how we would survive. You understand? The Most High says, Zephaniah 2:1, gather yourselves together. Yea, gather yourself together, O nation not desired. He's letting us know that we are a nation not desired. And when you know that you're a nation that's not desired, what do you naturally do? You come together with your family so that all of your needs are met. That was the purpose of the scripture. You understand what I'm saying? The Most High had everything already mapped out. All we had to do was follow the scripture. We follow the scripture, and we're on top, they're on the bottom. You understand what I'm saying? And if you think about it, when they had, Black Wall Street, you understand? Elaine in North Carolina, the city of Elaine in North Carolina. What did they have? Seneca Village in New York. All of these cities prospered because of what? Because they had to come together. Because why? They knew they were not desired by their enemy. You understand what I'm saying? So in having these farmlands and it being a struggle and being ostracized by our oppressor, we were supposed to come together and provide for each other. And our farmlands would have grown. We would have still been holding on to our farmland. Go ahead. Back to the article.
After emancipation, Southern black cotton farmers faced discrimination from the North. many white Democrats were concerned about how many of African Americans were being employed in the U.S. cotton industry.
Hold up right there. See, they were saying they were nervous about who was being employed in this cotton industry, right? We had a good hold on the cotton industry after coming out after being emancipated, and it made them nervous. So they had to figure out a way, how do we push them out? Go ahead.
And the dramatic growth of black landowners. They urged white farmers in the South to take control of the industry, which from time to time resulted in strikes by black cotton pickers. For instance, blacks led by the Colored Farmers Association, or CFA, strikers from Memphis, organized the Cotton Pickers Strike of 1891 in Lee County in September, which resulted in much violence.
Stop right there. That was the thing that they used on us. You understand what I'm saying? We came together, but we came together to strike a strike against them holding us back. You understand? Them ostracizing us and them forcing us or pushing us out of that industry. But what did we say before? If we just come together and we support our own, it's just like the Chinese do today, right? And I'm just using this as an illustration. In the Chinese industry, you have one person that makes noodles, you have one person that makes egg rolls, you got somebody who makes soy sauce, and you got somebody who makes fortune cookies, right? They bring all of that stuff together, and they all get paid, and they all do different things, and that's one industry. You understand what I'm saying? And that's all we had to do was come together and put our things together. If you sell into your own, and you're buying from your own, your money stays in the circulation of your own people. You understand what I'm saying? And when your money stays in circulation amongst your own people, your nation grows. And this is what the Most High was talking about again when he was telling us to come together, O nation I desire, knowing that the other nations are against us. You have to come together and support each other. The Most High tells us that we are not supposed to be taking anything. We are not supposed to be looking for handouts, and I'm paraphrasing, from people from any other nation. When you go out there and you boycott or you picket or you, what do you say, strike, when you start striking and stuff like that, you're asking for a handout. You're being a beggar. The Most High told us we would better, I'm paraphrasing, get me right if I'm saying this wrong, but I'm just paraphrasing. We'd be better off dead than to be a beggar. You understand what I'm saying? It'd be better off. You understand? So instead of begging, why not support your own? It's what the other nations do. You understand? Have you ever heard of... Go ahead.
Black cotton farmers were very important to entrepreneurs, which emerged during industrialization in the United States, particularly Henry Ford. The United States Emancipation Proclamation came into power on January the 1st, 1863, allowing a new journey for people of African American ancestry to participate in the U.S. agriculture industry in a new way. Sharecropping became widespread in the South during and after the Reconstruction era.
During and after the Reconstruction era, sharecropping was basically a tactic used to keep slaves without them realizing that they were still slaves. You understand what I'm saying? Like we said before,
You bring a sharecropper in, you let him start working, and then all of a sudden, when it's time to get paid, you tell him everything that you had to do to get everything right, and that you had to give him, and you overcharge him, so that at the end of the day, he owes you. So if he owes you, what does that mean? What does that mean? That means he can't go anywhere because he has a debt that he has to pay off. Instead of him paying you a debt, now you owe him a debt. You understand what I'm saying? And this is what the whole fundamental thing about sharecropping was built around. And my family got kind of lucky because at the end of the day, my great-grandfather had land, which my family still owns today. You understand what I'm saying? In St. Mary's County. But for the most part, most ex-slaves didn't have that benefit. At the end of the day, they died on land that they didn't own. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
20th century. The conditions of black cotton farmers gradually improved during the 20th century. An expert in Negro suffrage in the United States observed in 1940 that many thousands of black cotton farmers each year now go to the polls, stand in line with their white neighbors, and mark their ballots independently without protest or intimidation in order to determine government policy toward cotton production control. However, discrimination towards blacks continued.
Discrimination towards blacks continued. There we go. You understand? Voting can get you nowhere. You understand? And voting is a tactic. And a lot of our people, a lot of us don't understand that it's a tactic. When you're voting, think about this, right? We're not supposed to put a king over us who the Most High didn't appoint. That's in Scripture, right? But let's look at it from a different angle. When you pick your next oppressor, right? Did you choose your oppressor, or did they give you somebody to choose from? And that's the thing where we lose at, is we don't understand that we never made a choice. We were given choices. And it's a difference, as opposed to if I say, I want Kawan to run for president, as opposed to them going in the back, pulling out two of their people and say, this is who I want you to choose from. This is where we lack at. This is where we lose at, because we keep trusting in our oppressor. Let's grab the Apocrypha and give me Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. And this is where a lot of our people fail at, and we continually do it every 2 to 4 years. You understand? Whether we voting on mayors, whether we voting on governors, whether we voting on presidents, whether we voting on city councilmen, we do the same thing continually, expecting something different to happen. They've been telling us they're going to build up Park Heights area for years. You understand? Off of that same money that the Pimlico racetrack generates, and they generate millions. That Pimlico area, that Park Heights area still looks the same, except for one store, Cinderella. Guess who owns it? A so-called Jew. A so-called pedophile. A so-called sex offender. You understand what I'm saying? And he's prospering, even with that title. You understand? This is where we fail at. You understand? The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war is in his heart. Destruction is always in his heart when it comes to us. You got that, brother?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy.
Say that again.
Never trust thine enemy.
It says never trust thine enemy. These are the words of the Most High. He tells us never trust thine enemy. Why does he tell us never trust thine enemy? What is the purpose of never trusting your enemy? I mean, it's simple. Why does he say never trust your enemy? Because he's your enemy. You understand? And whenever you're at war with anyone who's your enemy, his purpose is to destroy you. You understand? Never trust thine enemy. Go ahead.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his
It
wickedness.
says, as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Listen, when you polish up, I work in the industry where we polish up iron, right? We get it nice, smooth, and shiny. We put it on what you would call a lathe. A lathe shaves it down, smooths it out, makes it shiny to the point where you can see your face in it. But if you don't treat this iron, in a couple of hours, spots will start coming up on it. Rust spots will start coming up on it. So after you shine it up, you have to put a lubricant on it to keep it nice and shiny, and then you lay it away so it stays nice and smooth. So when the person comes to buy it, it looks nice and pretty. You understand? But it says, as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Listen, eventually your oppressor's wickedness is going to show through. Listen, it says the words of his mouth is smoother than butter, but war is in his heart. In his heart is his only desire is to destroy us. You understand what I'm saying? His only desire is to destroy us. And the more you play with him, eventually his wickedness is going to show through. But by the time we see his wickedness, we are already destroyed. Just like this past election, right? We've just chosen another oppressor to continually beat us down. You understand what I'm saying? And by the time everybody realized that Joe Biden is just as evil as Donald Trump, it's too late. You understand? Go ahead.
However, discrimination towards blacks continued as it did in the rest of society, as isolated incidents often broke out. On the 25th December 1961, Herbert Lee, a black cotton farmer.
Before you finish that, I like the way they put that. They say isolated incidents when these incidents were not isolated. These incidents happened all over. You understand what I'm saying? But they make it sound like, oh, it only happened there once or twice, or understand. But these were incidents that happened all around America, all the time. You understand? Just like we get so mind blown when we see a police shooting. When these things happen all the time, think about the times where they don't get caught. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
On 25 December 1961, Herbert Lee, a black cotton farmer and voter registration organizer, was shot on the head by white state legislator E.H. Hurst in Liberty, Mississippi. Yet the cotton industry continued to be very important for blacks.
Can you hold up for a minute? Can you read? Are they saying he was shot in the head?
Yeah, let me read it over. However, discrimination towards blacks continued as it did in the rest of society, and isolated incidents often broke out. On 25 December 1961, Herbert Lee, a black cotton farmer and voter registration organizer, was shot on the head by white state legislator E.H. Hurst in Liberty, Mississippi. Yet the cotton industry continued to be very important for blacks in the southern United States.
Now they say he was shot in the head, right? Now automatically think about this. He was a voter registration coordinator, right? Say he was shot in the head. If he's a voter coordinator, he was shot in the head, then evidently they trying to hold something back for us. We're gonna keep on voting. because evidently voting does something for us. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead. This is the way we are fooled. You understand what I'm saying? This is the way we are fooled, because when we see something happen to a person that they say this is what we should do, then automatically we feel like, oh, well, that's gotta be the right thing to do. We gotta go and vote. Why we gotta go and vote? Because our ancestors died for it. How many times have you heard that? How many times have you heard it say, our ancestors died for the right to vote, so we gotta get out and vote. Vote or die. You understand what I'm saying? Just because somebody does something and they die for what they're doing doesn't make it right. A drug dealer sells drugs. He dies for selling drugs. Does it make it right to sell drugs? A dope fiend dies from getting high. Does it make it right to get high? Should we all go out and get high? When we've been voting for over 55 years and we continually are dying from voting, should we continue to vote? You understand what I'm saying? Certain things are easy to look at. You understand? Certain things are easy to look at. We are being destroyed doing the very things that they want us to do. Now, guess what they said about this voting that just passed? Now, we only make up, if I'm not mistaken, Kawan, get me right, but they say we make up what, 8 to 10% of the nation? We make up 8 to 10% of the nation, right? 7%, right? We will go with 7%. They said that the black vote got Biden in. If we only make up 7%, how does a 7% get him the win? You understand what I'm saying? And then a lot of us don't vote. So look at where I'm going with this, right? They make us feel empowered. They make you feel empowered so much so that we got to vote. We got to get out and vote. If you don't vote, then you can't speak. You can't talk. When voting is the very thing that's destroying us. Now look at this, right? Let me ask a question. When you're standing out there voting, how many Chinese people do you see out there in those voting lines? How many Koreans do you see in those voting lines? How many Arabs do you see in those voting lines? Well, how the hell do they own all the corner stores? How the hell do the East Indians own all the Dunkin' Donuts? How do you have Arabs selling pizza? They don't vote. So voting can't be the solution. Listen, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. His actions are too. His actions are smoother than butter. Because the things that he do really convinces us that this is the way to go. If you vote for me, I'll do you one. And he does. He does us up and throws us away. You understand what I'm saying? We are a destroyed people because we trust so much in our oppressor. The scriptures say what? Trust not thine enemy. We are a trusting people. Out of every nation on the face of this earth, who is the most trusting? We trust the other nations so much so that we don't even trust our own people. How can you trust every nation? How can you trust eating out of a Chinese store? How can you trust eating out of an Arab store or a bodega? But you don't even trust eating your own people's food.
So like 13%.
13%, even in 13%, all of the 13% don't vote. Because we got 2 million, over 2.2 or 2.3 million brothers locked up. They can't vote. You understand what I'm saying? So even with the 13%, we still ain't enough to make a difference. But they tell you that to empower you. They tell us that to empower us, to make us continually feel like voting matters. Voting's going to change it. And this is the reason why we lose in land. This is the reason why we lost a lot of our farmland. From 900, it was 925,000 right after the emancipation, right? And I believe In 2018, we have about maybe 40,000. 40,000. So how do you go from 925,000 and being ostracized to the point where you have to come together to going into integration and fall into 40,000? Do you hear what I said? Going into integration and fall into 40,000. Wanting to be with your oppressor. Wanting to integrate into your oppressor. We lost everything. We gave away everything, including our farmland. You understand? If I'm not mistaken, today, at the time we came out of slavery, we owned 14%. Of all the farmers, we were 14%. Coming out of slavery now, we less than 2%. We're about 1.5%. So you go from 14% to 1.5%. And that's in and that statistic was from 2018. You understand what I'm saying? Trust not in the oppressor. What does it say? For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. He gets us to vote. He gets us to integrate. We try to fall in line with him, and he takes everything from us. Just like we said before, whenever you integrate into anything, you become the thing that you integrate into. The thing doesn't become you. You become that thing. So when you integrate in, you give up everything that you have just to fall to their feet. You are a slave to the thing that you integrate into. You understand what I'm saying? That's just how it is. Go ahead. You got that? You gonna finish reading that article?
Yeah. By the late 1920s, around 2/3 of all African American tenants and almost 3/4 of the croppers worked on cotton farms. 3 out of every 4 black farm operators earned less than 40% of their income from cotton farming during this period.
It says they earn. Say that again.
3 out of every 4 black farm operators earn at least 40% of their income from cotton farming during this period.
Think about this. They earn 40% of their income from cotton farming. What else did they do as a farm owner? 40%. You understand what I'm saying? Who can live off of 40%? Especially as a sharecropper, after you have to pay out. And then you have to pay the owner, the plantation owner, what you owe him, what you supposedly supposed to owe him. You understand? And this is the reason why, by the time it all was said and done, we went from 925,000 to 40,000. Because they perpetually put you in debt. You owe this, you owe that. They gave you just enough just to survive off of so that you wouldn't pack up and leave. You know the dangling carrot? That's what they do. You understand? Go ahead.
Studies conducted during the same period indicated that 2 in 3 black women from black land-owning families were involved in cotton farming. The cotton industry in the United States hit a crisis in the early 1920s. Cotton and tobacco prices collapsed in 1920 following overproduction, and the boll weevil pest wiped out the sea inland cotton crop in 1921.
That was the boll weevil.
Boll weevil.
That's an insect that tears cotton crops up. They eat cotton. You understand? Just like locusts with corn and other things like that, the boll weevil tears the hell up out of cotton, and that boll weevil could tear a whole crop up, could mess up your crop for the season. You understand? So think about you being a sharecropper and having that boll weevil come in and tear up everything that you were expecting to get back. Hey, grab Proverbs chapter 29, verse 7. You know, that boll weevil could tear up a whole crop. And if that was your crop for the season, because remember, you go season to season. So you working all season only for that boll weevil to come in and tear everything up. And then your oppressor charges you for that. You understand? He gonna get his. But he charges you for that. You understand? He can't lose. That's the way the system is made. That's the way the system is rigged. The system has always been against us. You got that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, read that.
Proverbs 29 and verse 7, the righteous considereth the cause of the poor.
Look, check this out, right? You see how you said, gosh, you know what I mean? You consider the righteous, you consider, the cause of the poor. You understand that feeling when something negative happens. Oh, you feel that sympathy. You understand? That's a trademark of our people. That's what the Most High put in us. The Most High put compassion in us. You understand? So much so that we feel like when something happens, oh, wow. Man, I don't know what to say, bro. Listen, if you need me, I'm here for you. You understand? Go ahead, finish that.
But the wicked regardeth not to know it.
Listen, the wicked gonna act like I don't know what's going on, but I need to get mine. You understand? He not gonna understand that feeling. The wicked don't understand the feeling of you being destroyed, of us being destroyed. He not gonna. You see when a police kills a young brother on the street, oh well, he shouldn't have been doing that. You understand? When he should have compassion in his heart, but it's not in them. You understand? When those crops get destroyed, the plantation owner has no regard for your feelings. They don't understand. It's not a feeling that they have in them. They don't have a heart. You understand? And I'm saying compassion. They got something that pumps the blood through their body. But they don't have the compassion. They don't have the empathy. It's no sympathy towards us. You understand what I'm saying? The scripture says the righteous consider the cause of the poor. Listen, bro, if you need me, if I can do anything for you to get you through this situation, let me know. I got you. You understand what I'm saying? And what it say? It says, but the wicked regardeth not to know. Hey, look, I ain't got nothing to do with that. You understand? I just need what I need. You understand? Go ahead.
However, it wasn't the collapse of prices or pests which resulted in the mass decline of African American employment in agriculture in the American South. The mechanization of agriculture is undoubtedly, and racism is undoubtedly the most important reason why many blacks moved to northern American cities in the 1940s and 1960s during the Great Migration.
So basically what they're saying is the mechanization, the development of farm equipment, right? The making of the equipment to pick the cotton faster, to make it more efficient, to do things like that. The mechanization of the industry. But just like he said, it was also the discrimination. All of that is involved. Discrimination, and not to mention the pests too. You understand? When the pests hit, you was the one that got hit, not the plantation owner. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
That didn't fall on him, it fell on you. That's just the way their laws are. Their laws are always in and contrary with them. It goes against us. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Salaki. Also, pestilence was a curse.
Oh,
Pestilence was a curse.
you
You
understand?
think your roaches and your rats was random?
How about that? And listen, we live with them every day. You feel me? I ain't gonna act like I ain't been there. I've been there. You know, rats and the roaches, the mice. You know, I mean, running rampant. I mean, I was living in. I don't want to get too far off, but I was living down on Poplar Grove in Emerson at one time, boy, where it sounded like at night these mice was playing basketball in my ceiling. I could hear them like running back, and then running back this way. You know what I mean? It's like these motherfuckers playing It's a What? You understand what I'm saying? So I mean, that's a pestilence. You understand what I'm saying? Whether it be rats, whether it be roaches, mice, or whatever, boll weevils or whatever, it's a pestilence. And pestilences, just like you say, those are curses. You understand what I'm saying? And when we are disobedient to the Most High, when we don't follow those laws, statutes, and commandments, these are the things that we have to deal with. You understand? Go ahead.
Get back to this.
Go ahead. Yeah, back to the line.
All right. 21st century. In 2010, the United States Department of Agriculture vowed to pay some 40,000 black farmers $1.2 billion in total as compensation for the years of undue discrimination.
Think about this, right? They said 40,000 at 1.2. You said 1.2 billion.
1.2 billion in total.
1.2 billion amongst 40,000 amongst over not from 925,000, which a lot of them that they egged out, that's a drop in the bucket. You understand? And not to mention, his words of his mouth were smoother than butter. That $1.2 billion sound real good, but it ain't no good until you get it in your hand.
You about to see that name. Select.
It ain't no good until you get it in your hand. Go ahead.
Let's start from the beginning.
Right. Go ahead. Start from the beginning. Go ahead.
21st century.
Right.
In 2010, the United States Department of Agriculture vowed to pay some 40,000 black farmers $1.2 billion in total as compensation for years of undue discrimination, though funds were intended to be distributed by the end of 2012. The black farmers have yet to receive the designated compensation by March 2013. In all, farmers in Pickford, who filed in payments in the Pickford 2 claims process, 33,000 black farmers in Pickford 2 received decision letters dated August the 30th, 2013, resulting from the late claims process that closed on May 11th, 2012. About 18,000 Pickford 2 claims were eventually decided in favor of the farmers, and 15,000 claims were denied.
Now check this out, right? The words of his mouth were smooth and butter, the words in his heart. Listen, I don't want to get too far off, but it was a thing that happened with a doctor at Johns Hopkins where he was this doctor was examining females, a gynecologist, and he was taking pictures of them. Well, he killed himself, and Johns Hopkins got sued, right? So what they did was they lumped everybody in to one group and gave them like only a few $1 million, but at the end of the day, some of the people got $5,000, some got $10,000, some got $20,000. One white lady went off on her own and she got $5 million. White lady, $5 million. Black lady, $20,000, $10,000, $5,000. The ones who owed, if you owed social services, they took that money out of what you owed. You understand what I'm saying? What does John Hopkins have to do with the state? Nothing. Nothing. You understand? The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. They use any means to degrade and to lower the value of you or us as a nation. You understand what I'm saying? There is no way you can get over, or you're going to look like you got over on this oppressor. You understand? The one white lady that went off on her own, she got $5 million. And everybody else got 10,000, 20,000, and some of them even, like I said, got 5,000. You understand? And guess who got the most? The lawyers. You understand what I'm saying? So how does a lawyer get more than somebody who got abused? How does the person who speaks for him get more? But this is what our oppressors do for us.
So, what doctor you talking about?
Remember the doctor at Johns Hopkins that was doing the gynecologist, and he eventually committed suicide. Right, and I knew 2 females that got paid from that. One lady got $20,000. The other lady got $10,000. You understand? And then a friend of mine, her daughter got $5,000. She's like, it's better than nothing. You understand? But this is what they take us on. The words of their mouth are smoother than butter, but war was in their heart. They know that when you are an oppressed people, you'll take what you can take regardless. If you don't think about this, right? If you don't know you can get $5 million, you'll take $10,000. You understand what I'm saying? Because most of the time we're in such a dire need. You understand? We so impoverished, or we in poverty so much that we'll take what we can get to get us over. You understand what I'm saying? The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. This is how he knows the position that he has us in. Just like those farmers, that plantation owner, that industry knows what position that they have those sharecroppers in, and they use them and use them and use them and throw them away. You understand what I'm saying? This is why the Most High tells us, trust not thine enemy, for so as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. You understand? We got to understand that this beast has nothing for us. You understand? The oppressor does not have our best means at heart. You understand? He is only out to destroy us. You got some more on that?
We'll get back to it.
Okay, keep moving. Okay, all right, go ahead. Listen. This is just how the oppressor. We're at the bottom of the totem pole, right? We're put in a position where we are made to be a living slave. Living in America, we nothing but a living slave. You understand? They can pay you the least amount of money and get the most amount of work out of us. Because of why? Because they know the position that we're in. They know where we live at. They know everything that's being done to us, and they know that we're in desperation. Think about this, right? We go out and we kill and we destroy our own because we're impoverished. Because we're fighting for all the scraps. You understand what I'm saying? If I take 5 people and put them in a room, and I take 5 pieces of chicken and give them 5 pieces of chicken. Each person will have a piece of chicken, right? But eventually, if I change that 5 pieces of chicken to 3 pieces, then it's going to be a fight somewhere. Eventually, if I change that 5 pieces to 1 piece, somebody going to die. You understand? Well, this is what they do when they throw us into these positions. Those sharecroppers were out there dying, so they had to do what they had to do. It's just like when you throw that 1 piece of chicken in, we're going to fight till somebody dies and somebody gets that piece of chicken. You understand what I'm saying? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. Ezekiel 35 and 5. Let me know when you get there.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Go ahead, say that again.
Ezekiel chapter 35, verse 5. Sir, just let me know if you need me to keep on going.
Ezekiel 35 and verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred.
Hey, listen, it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. What is perpetual hatred? Perpetual hatred is an ongoing, never-ending, never-quenching hatred for a person. Our oppressor has a perpetual hatred for us, a ongoing hatred that can never be quenched. This is the things that we have to understand. The reason why we're going through what we go through, because we think eventually if we show our oppressor enough love, eventually he's going to show us some love, when that's not going to happen. You understand what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with the sharecroppers. Eventually, if we work hard enough, then the plantation owner is going to give us what we need. We're going to make good money. Something's going to happen. You understand? We're going to make a profit, and we're going to be, we're going to have that come up that we always looking for. You understand? We've been looking for a come up since we got emancipated. You understand what I'm saying? And the only thing we want to do is live comfortable like our oppressor. But the scriptures tell us what? Envy not thy oppressor.
Yeah.
When it says envy not thy oppressor, what does that mean? It says don't desire what your oppressor has.
Oh, I see.
Because when you begin to desire what your oppressor has, you begin to do anything you can to get what they have. This is how we become drug dealers. This is how we become junkies. This is why we go out and we kill each other, because we envy our oppressor. The scriptures say, envy not thou oppressor. You understand what I'm saying? And these are the things that we shouldn't do, because it leads to our destruction. You understand? It puts us in iniquity. It puts us at odds with the Most High. You understand? We sin against the Most High when we live like our oppressor.
You mean doing it like
we
this?
desire our
Or you gotta
oppressor.
hit.
You understand what I'm saying? That's what happens. You know? Envy not thy oppressor. Never trust thine enemy. We are too trusting. You know? We too trusting. You know? And see, and right now it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. What does that mean? Oh, he hates us so much. He sheds our blood by the force of the sword. This is the reason why we're being destroyed in these streets. We're being shot dead in these streets. You understand what I'm saying? 2.3 million brothers locked up in the prisons now. Guess what they got those brothers locked up doing? Fighting fighters for $1 a day. You understand? when a firefighter makes $80,000 a year. You mean to tell me you go from $80,000 a year to $360 a year, or $365 a year? You understand what I'm saying? He has a perpetual hatred and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity. When you at your lowest state, our oppressor destroys us. When the boll weevil comes through and destroys those crops, the oppressor says, you still owe me. He destroys us in the time of our calamity. At your lowest state, you being destroyed. When you think things can't get no worse, your oppressor comes in and puts his knee on your neck. You understand what I'm saying? These are the things that happen. This is why the Most High tells us what? Trust not thine enemy. You understand? Can't trust your enemy. But a lot of us don't understand and know who our enemy is. Oh, the white man can be saved. You understand? Oh, we all brothers and sisters. You understand what I'm saying? We are continually destroyed. You understand? Oh, the white man not evil. If he not evil, why ain't no Chinese people dying? Why ain't no Koreans dying? You understand what I'm saying? Why ain't no Koreans dying? You understand? Why the Chinese people ain't dying? Why the Arabs ain't dying? We the only ones out there dying. So evidently we have an enemy. You understand what I'm saying? We the only ones out there dying. I can't remember when I seen a Korean dragged out of his car and shot in the street. You understand? I can't remember when I seen an East Indian get 7 bullets in his back. You understand? I can't remember when I seen an Arab get choked out. You understand what I'm saying? We have an enemy that we don't understand is our enemy. Most High tells us, trust not thine enemy. It says, listen, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had ended. We not even doing anything. We not even doing evil. You understand what I'm saying? We not even doing evil. And we being destroyed. You understand? He asks you for your license and registration. You reach for your license and registration, and all of a sudden he pulls his gun out and kills you. You understand? In the time of when our iniquity had ended, we not even doing anything wrong. And we being destroyed. You understand? Trust not your enemy. For so is iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Listen, his wickedness always shows through, but we too blind to see it. You understand what I'm saying? His wickedness always shows through, but we're just too blind to see it. You got any more on that? I'm talking about that article. That article. The article's done? Okay. All right, drop that article then. We good. We can go from there. We can still chop it up from here. You feel me? But we so destroyed, and this is how we lost a lot of that farmland. You understand? Putting our trust in them. When we should never trust in our enemy. The Most High tells us not to trust in our enemy. Give me Psalms 58:3. Psalms 58:3.
In the book of Psalms, chapter 58 and verse 3, the wicked are estranged from the womb.
It says the wicked are estranged from the womb. Go ahead.
They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies.
They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Listen. They are estranged from the womb. They have no love for their love is lost from the womb. They have no love, they have no compassion coming from the womb. You understand what I'm saying? No compassion from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Their babies tell lies. They tell lies as babies. Listen, it's born in them. It's in their DNA. And this is what we don't understand. You understand? This is what we don't understand, is that they were born to deceive us. This is the reason why we call them the devil. Devil just means deceiver. They are the deceivers of the earth. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. This is a part of their culture. This is a part of their DNA. This is just what they do. You understand what I'm saying? They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. They are estranged from the womb. Listen, they have no coming out. They have no compassion for anything. You understand? No love for anything. If it doesn't deal with them, forget it. You know what I mean? This is just how they are. You know? And our black farmers, this is how we, like I said, this is how we lost all of that land. You understand? This is the reason why we went from 925,000 black farmers all the way down to just over 40,000. You understand? We went from 14% of the farmland owners to just just over 1.5%. Not even 2%. That's a big decline. You know? And that's all the way up that's up until, like I said, 2018. You know? You come out of slavery. You come out of slavery not owning anything. Excuse me. Salakia, sir. We come out of slavery not owning anything to having 925,000 farmland owners. You know? So now when you look at us today, we don't own any schools, no supermarkets, no industries that we can absolutely build a nation on. You understand what I'm saying? You don't own any infrastructures. We don't own any, what do they call it, the water companies, no electric companies. Anything that we need, we got to go to our oppressor for it. You understand? We got to go for him for clothing, food. We are in dire need of everything. We have to go to the oppressor for it. Where we at?
We on
Give me
Psalms 58 and 4. You gonna get that or go somewhere?
No, we're gonna go somewhere else. Let's go to the Apocrypha, right? I want to go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 17. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 17.
Ecclesiasticus. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 17. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee.
Keep going.
Verse 18. He will shake his head and clap his hands, and whisper much, and change his countenance.
That's heavy right there. Look, check this out, right? It says, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there. Listen, when you going through it, he's always going to be there for you. Like he's there to help you. You understand? But as you know, your oppressor has no love for you. It says, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there. And though he pretend to help thee, because this is what they always do. Think about this, right? What's that? John Lewis, Bayard Rustin, Martin Luther King, three other dudes, the big six, right? They so-called headed up the March on Washington. You understand what I'm saying? But they had the oppressor at the top over all of them. You understand what I'm saying? And though he looked like he's there to help them, he's only there to undermine them. You understand what I'm saying? He's only there to undermine us as a nation. And that's what that March on Washington did. That March on Washington undermined us. Just like the oppressor did with the sharecroppers, he undermined them. This is what they do. They undermined us. And at the end of the day, the March on Washington ended in what? Nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Just like that sharecropper.
I can learn to understand you much better if I can get familiar with the way you talk. I need your permission to help. I can learn to understand you much better if
Most of the time, listen, most of the time, that sharecropper was there to undermine them.
I can learn.
You understand what I'm saying? Most of the time, that oppressor was there to undermine them, and that's what happened. That's why we lost. Think about it, right? If we lost all of that farmland, who got it? The oppressor. You understand what I'm saying? Think about when the native Indians lost their land, when they got put on reservations, and then the oppressor decided to move in through their reservation. You understand? He is only there to undermine them. You can't build on your reservation. Why can't they build on their reservation? Because we might decide to do something else with it when it's supposed to be yours. You understand what I'm saying? That the Hispanics, Mexico, Arizona, Texas, and all of that. Come on, sir. Texas, Arizona, and all of that. That's supposed to be Mexico, right? They took that land from the Hispanics. You understand what I'm saying? Destroyed the Hispanics and took that land. They were only there to undermine them. They make it look like we're your friend, we're gonna help you out, we're gonna talk this out. Then all of a sudden they destroy you and take your land, force you back into the deserts and the outermost parts of it. You understand what I'm saying? Think about it, right? Mexico and the states, the so-called United States, were right there next to each other. That land that they took, Texas, Arizona, all of that was Mexico. The native Indians and the Hispanics, they got along perfectly fine together. You understand what I'm saying? No skirmishes, no squabbles. Everybody understood this is what we do. But the oppressor comes in and destroys all of that. You understand? This is just what they do. It says, listen, we can't. It says, let's read that again. It says, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. They're going to find you there first. And though he pretend, you heard that? It says, though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. Yet, listen, it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. He is there to undermine us. You understand? That's his sole purpose, to undermine us. Listen, it says, verse 18, he will shake his head and clap his hands. Look, go ahead, brother, go ahead. Yeah, you got it. He's shaking his head. He making you think he with you. He clapping his hands. He getting you pumped up. And then it says what? And whispers much and changes his countenance. What's his countenance? You know that smile that you see on their face? And all of a sudden it turns into an evil frown? That's his countenance. His countenance changes because the good is not what he wants for you. You know, destruction is what he wants for you. Destruction is what he wants for us. You understand what I'm saying? Listen. Trust not thine enemy. You understand? The words of his mouth are smoother than butter, but war is in his heart. That's just his DNA. That's his makeup. You understand? There is nothing that you can say or we can say or do to make him think anything other. You understand? You can't change the oppressor's mind about destroying. You ever been evicted? You been evicted? You ever came just before an eviction happened and you got most of the money and say, look, I can get the rest of his money? Say, look, man, I can't help you. Listen, if he got the rest of the money the next day, what's going to happen? What's the difference from getting it all today and waiting till tomorrow to get the rest of it? War is in his heart. His sole purpose is not to help you out, but to destroy you, to crush you into powder, to crush us into powder. You understand what I'm saying? I've been on that eviction end. I know what it feel like. And I know I done came out saying F you at times, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm a survivor, you understand? It's just what we do, but a lot of us are destroyed from it. Why? Because we put our hope so much into him that when he crushes you, all of a sudden you destroy. You understand what I'm saying? Your whole world is gone. You understand? It ain't a lot of us that can say F you and keep it moving. You feel me? But we are the people that can do it, because at times we can't take it and we like, forget it. You know? Hey. And with that, I'm going to say we are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. We've been bringing this truth since 1969, and what is that truth? That the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Indians are the true Jews of the Bible, and the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. We got classes Monday through Friday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We got history class on Monday. We got brotherhood class on Tuesday. We got law class on Wednesday. We got that scripture breakdown on Thursday. And we got the Lashawan Kodash on Friday. We got the Sabbath service on Saturday, which is from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then we do our street speaking from 12:30 until. We are at 3430 Eastern Avenue. Come get into these classes and find out what the Most High has in store and needs you to do as one of the 12 tribes of Israel. And with that, Shalom Israel. I want to turn the class over. I'm going to turn the class over to Priest Officer Kawan Palat. The water, get that priest a hand. Goddamn right. Powerful class. Goddamn right. Security announcements. We are the Isupk out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry ties, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18:21 and Malachi 3:8 and 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, and it's pronounced Ma'asherah. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give, if you like what the priest brought out today, all of the study that he put into it, connecting his spirituality to the Lord and bringing his truth out to you, man, send something to the priest, man. Send something to the school, all right? Upcoming Holy Congregation.
Remind Akim and Akwafium to check on social media such as isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUPK events and material. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. Let's give one courtesy salute to the teacher, men of Israel. Imagine Shabbat, Majid, Brak. Yahaba Shimmy Shabbat, Yazim Matah, class dismissed. All right. Beautiful class. Beautiful.
Very heavy, man, very heavy. $5 million.
Trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got the trade so